Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel that is Social Art. I'm your host and I'm here with my next video. I hope you have been enjoying the channel and the videos at the channel. Well, in this video we'll be learning about 3D reference in Excel functions, what is its importance and how do we use it. So rather than wasting any time more, let us get on to the video database, and here it is on the screen. You see a database wherein various subjects have been listed in each worksheet. For each subject, the marks scored by the 10 students, those are having roll numbers 1 to 10, have been tabulated for various unit tests and the annual exam. Well, now let me explain you why 3D referencing is required. For example, in case if the first student, so that is roll number 1, his score tally or his sum of his score is to be done, how it can be done. So one can go over here and click the first subject, then go over it again, say plus, and then go to the next subject, again click onto the relevant cell, say plus, again go to the next subject, click onto the relevant cell, and this way one can go on calculating or summing up or summarizing the score of each student. Well, within last 30 seconds you must have realized that it is very tedious and not recommended. It is really a crude way of doing it. So what is that Excel provides us or facilitates us? In Excel there is something called as 3D referencing, and by using 3D referencing one can find out lot much of work done manually converted into automated functions, or by through 3D referencing of the formulae it can be done. So here on your screen you are seeing the formulae or the functions which can be used with 3D referencing. In subsequent sheets I'll be explaining you a few of these. Let us get on to the task then. So if we go on to this sheet 6, we will be doing some kind of 3D referencing and understand how it's to be done. So in case now we see here for unit test 1, 2, 3, 4 and annual exam for individual performer, how can the maximum marks, minimum marks, total marks and average marks be calculated? So for example, if it is the roll number 1 candidate and his marks are to be counted or calculated or summarized, or minimum and maximum score of his amongst various subjects are to be found out. How can one do that? Let's do it. So if I say is equal to, I'm going to use the sum function, or in the first case I'm going to use the max function. So max function returns the maximum value and ignores logical values and text. So I'm going to use max function. So in max what is required is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So now in our case each number is lying into a different worksheet, and this is the beauty of 3D referencing. Now I'm going to demonstrate to you how to find out various values of maximum marks that are scored by this candidate or the person with roll number 1 from these worksheets. So what I have done is, now I have clicked onto the title of the first worksheet. So we see on the screen subject underscore HIST. The next thing what I'm going to do is, I'm going to the formula bar, I'll be removing the exclamation mark and introduce a colon there. So with this colon, now I'm open to click onto the next worksheet. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to click onto the last or the fourth worksheet, what we see here where the subject science is seen. So I'm clicking onto that, and in subject science what I'll be doing is, I will be going to roll number 1's unit number 1 or unit exam 1 cell and click onto that, that is C3. Once done, I'm going to close the parenthesis. So now friends, you can see it very well on your screen what has happened. So if you see here across, the formula here shows max subject underscore hist colon subject underscore science exclamation mark C3. What does this mean? So now in this formula, the worksheets from subject history to subject science, all the worksheets which lie within this range will be considered. So we have been choosing arrays and ranges all the time with cells into a single worksheet. Now here we are selecting multiple worksheets as an array or as a range. And then with the exclamation mark, it concludes the selection of the worksheets. And then what cell does it need to refer is the cell C3. Now mind well, 3D referencing can be used when all the worksheets have got the same cell references or the cell range reference to be considered. So here I'm considering the C3. Once done, I'm going to say enter, and when I enter it, directly I get the marks 95. So this is a score of maximum marks for that candidate whose roll number is 1 from all the subjects, that is history, geography, maths and science. 95 is the maximum mark. Same way one can go and do it for minimum. Now I'm going to do it little fast so that it gives you an easy idea. So here it is. I have clicked onto the first worksheet amongst the from the range. I have given the colon. I have selected the last worksheet, and in this last worksheet I'm again clicking for the unit 1 value over here, and I'm saying close parenthesis and enter. As soon as I do that, here the minimum marks scored by roll number 1 amongst all the subjects for unit test 1 are is displayed, and it is 45. The same thing for total marks. So now total marks is nothing else but I am going to sum it. The methodology now is quite clear to you. There it is. I have replaced the exclamation with the colon, and then the last worksheet which is relevant to the science subject, and then the cell for unit test 1. Once done, close parenthesis and enter. As soon as I do it, the total marks for the roll number 1 for all the subjects is 292, and now the average mark. So here I'm going to use the command average. I'm going to use the 3D referencing from the first worksheet to the last worksheet and select the relevant cell. So if you see friends, I have been selecting cell C3 here, and for your reference I have written the syntax here. So this is how I have done the activity for roll number 1 for unit test 1. So if I decide to copy this formula down, it gets copied down for unit test 2, unit test 3, unit test 4, unit test or annual form. The same way I'm going to do it for the remaining functions, and there it is. The values have dropped in quite easily. The tedious job of manually selecting the cells and the worksheets has been avoided. Now, there are few things that I like to highlight here or summarize here as I did it earlier. The first thing is all the worksheets should have the same cell reference or the same array of cells reference. So here you see the cell C3 has been common amongst all the subjects which were considered. So here I chose C3. The same thing was in the geography subject. By default, C3 was picked up by the referencing, and this was the cell. Maths C3 was 45 and science C3 was 95. So if you see the maximum, it's quite simple database and very less size or very small size of database. So you can easily make out 95 was maximum, then 45 was minimum for roll number 1, and then geography had 67 marks and history had 85 marks, which lied between the minimum and maximum. So first thing is the same cell references. The second thing is all the worksheets that I have selected do not have any space in between. For example, if we go and concentrate on this worksheet, it is subject underscore HIST. So there is no gap or no space between the text there. Had there been some kind of gap or some text, I'll give you a demo here. So I will remove the underscore from here, from the name of this tab, and let me give a demo here. So I have introduced a space there. Had there been a space there, then the formula will get appended as a quote here and a quote at last. Mind well, these quotes do matter a lot. With these quotes, one will be able to define the worksheets quite well. So irrespective of underspace or a space in between the name of the tabs, this will be introduced if there is a space inside the name of the tab. This is the second thing. The third thing is, if at all I go ahead and introduce a new tab here in between these two tabs which are the ones. Now if you see, as soon as I remove or I remove the space in between, the comma here which was introduced earlier has gone off. So mind well, if at all there is a tab with a space in its name, then first of all the selection should start with a comma here, or rather apostrophe here, and end with a apostrophe at the end over here. Fine. So now, as I was telling that if at all some other new worksheet is introduced in between this range of the worksheets, what happens? So now we have got another worksheet here, which is new subject. And in this new subject, if we see, the marks are quoted for this subject again as they were quoted in other worksheets. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it in this worksheet in between the other worksheets. So it is now prior to the subject science worksheet, and after we go to sheet 6, we see here that immediately the total marks have changed, the average marks has changed. The max and minimum marks have not changed, but certainly that means the new subject marks are lying somewhere in between the maximum and minimum. So if you see, this is 75, that lies between 95 and 45 for the first roll number, and so there is no change here, but certainly the total marks have got changed and the average marks have got changed. So in this way, if you see the formula over here, still it continues to be the range from subject history to subject science, and that is how it works. Now this is an example till now that I had quoted for an individual performer. Now let me make it a little complex. If at all a person or a teacher wants to know the marks of all the students in all the subjects for unit test 1, how does he do that? Now we already know how to find out the max, how to introduce the 3D referencing, that is also known. So let me go a little fast here now. Now I've chosen the command max. I'm choosing this cell or this worksheet, introduce the colon, introduce the last worksheet in the range, and in that I'm going to choose now the cells from C11, C3 to L3. So I have chosen those cells. I have closed the parenthesis, and when I say enter, there it is, the maximum marks 95. I'm going to pull down this formula for the remaining tests, and there you see now for unit test 2, for the individual performer, that is roll number 1, the maximum marks were 85, whereas when we have now considered all the 10 students for all the subjects for unit test 2, the maximum marks are 93. This is the difference between the two, what I had explained. So this has been a little complex, and this will require more efforts on part of person who is going to create the mark sheet here. So let us go and do it for minimum marks also. There it is. When I say minimum, I choose this worksheet. I choose the range of the worksheets. There it is, subject science. And now I choose to go for the range from, sorry, now we are going for the range from C3 to L3. There it is. I am closing the parenthesis and say enter. So this is for the minimum marks, that is 41. Now immediately you can see the minimum marks for the roll number 1 was 45, and hence that means when the roll for the unit test 1, if the minimum marks have turned out to be 41 for all the students, that means someone else has scored lesser marks than what roll number 1 has scored. So now this is very much clear from the comparisons here between these two columns, or rather the two databases for the minimum marks. You can make out the difference between what we have calculated. The same thing applies for the sum function. And now in this sum function, now we are going to calculate again for the range C3 to L3, and there it is. Now you see the total marks are 3390 for unit test 1 for all the subjects for all the students. And for average, let us go on and find out what is the average that has been scored by the students in this case. Since we are doing this formula for unit test 1, I have selected the relevant range, and as I pull down the function or the formula, there it is, we get the average for all the students for all the subjects. So here the range has changed from C3 to L3. Fine. So this is how one can make out, or one can use the 3D referencing for a very huge database for reducing the efforts by using Excel as an aid. But mind well, these are the only formulae which are functions which are supported by 3D referencing. Fine. So now let us go on to sheet 6 again and see something more interesting. Now this 3D referencing can also be chosen to be used with wildcards. Let me give you a demo here. So now let me do the sum functionality here. I'm choosing sum, and in this sum now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quote a colon, or sorry, apostrophe, give a wildcard, asterisk, and now if you see all these worksheets have got some things, the name, something like subject, the word subject is common amongst these. So this is the third thing that is important and I want to highlight to you. The first thing was the referencing cells should be the same. Second thing, if at all there is a space in the name of the tab or the worksheet, then the apostrophe has to be introduced at the beginning and at the end of the range. The third thing now here is that the name of the tabs should have something in common so that it can be used here. For example, the word subject is common here. So I'm just going to quote subj and then use another asterisk here. And now give another apostrophe, give explanation mark, and then the range. Now what do I need to add here is C3, say. I'm going to use the range or the cell C3, that is for the individual performer roll number 1, and there it is. So now this is the formula or the 3D referencing that I've used. Now you can clearly see that I used only the wildcard character as asterisk in the beginning and asterisk at the end. So all the tabs which are having the word subject in its name or subj string of alphabets in its name shall be chosen, including the new tab that we have added, new subject there. So now here I have not defined the range from what tab to what tab. So now amongst all the tabs, the relevant tabs will be chosen by this formula or 3D referencing. So this is the fourth thing to keep in mind, that while using the wildcard characters, the wildcard character asterisk will help or assist to choose all the relevant worksheets. So when I say enter, there it is. I get the answer as 367, which is quite right. We have already seen that here. So these two match, and that means the formula has been used is correct. Now if you go and see here at the formula bar, you can very well find out what has been done here. So what it has done is it has summed subject underscore history to subject underscore science exclamation C3. Now mind well, when we had put in this name or this formula in this, it has nothing to do with the range. But when the wildcard character was used, the name was subsequently chosen or the range was subsequently chosen by Excel with the help of the wildcard character. Now, if at all I go here and I do a change here, say new instead of subject, now I'm just going to say new. Got it? Fine. Now I go to sheet S6, and now again I'm going to repeat this formula saying is equal to sum apostrophe asterisk subj apostrophe, oh sorry, asterisk mark apostrophe exclamation C 3 cell and close the parenthesis and say enter. There it is. Now you see there has been a difference between the two cells here. Now you can clearly see what has been chosen is here in front of us. So what has been chosen is the sum has been done for the subject underscore history tab to subject underscore maths, that is the tab here. On our screen we can see it very much. So it has chosen the range from here to here, And the next thing what it has done is it has only chosen separately the worksheet subject underscore size. So this is the worksheet that has been chosen. So in this case, the worksheet new has been neglected by the system and it has not been considered in this addition here. So this addition is only related with the relevant worksheets as I had already highlighted to you. Fine. So this is how we can use the 3D referencing for usage in our daily day-to-day activities, either on personal or on professional level. And these are again, I'm quoting, these are the functions which can be used with 3D referencing. Viewers, I hope this video has been interesting and useful for you. Certainly you must have liked it. Please express your likes at the YouTube channel. And as I said in the beginning, this is a channel that you need to subscribe. So please do subscribe it. And in case if you have any topics or any subjects that you want me to make a video or publish a video, please do put in the comments at the YouTube channel page. I'll be back with you again soon with my new video, interesting, informative, and innovative. Till then, goodbye.